Chapter 12. Before the Beginning. Living with the unformed moments that shape us. How do you observe nothing? At first it might feel like a puzzle you could solve if you simply looked closely enough, as though nothing could be caught in your hands if you were quick enough to notice it. But the moment you try, it is no longer nothing. The act of looking turns it into something else. It gains a boundary, a faint outline, a place in time. You have changed it without meaning to. This is true of anything that exists in the moment before it begins. The pause before the first note of a song is not silence in the flat sense of the word. It is a living pause, thick with what is about to come. It is sound waiting to be born. The you before you were born was not an empty absence. It was an unformed presence, without a face, without a history, but already leaning towards the life you would inhabit. You cannot step back into that before. The instant you try to see it clearly, it collapses into the present and changes shape. Yet its influence has never left. It formed you before you could be formed, and you live every moment on the far side of that invisible threshold. We are trained to notice what has already started, the conversations underway, the songs mid-verse, the relationships already in motion. But the before is always close by, woven into the edges of the present. It walks alongside you even when you are unaware of it. Think of a conversation before the first word is spoken. The pause is not a gap. It is charged with every possible word, every possible direction, each one hovering like an unopened envelope. The moment the first sound escapes, the before disappears into the current of what is being said. Or picture a room just before someone arrives. The air is different. There is a weight to the light, a particular stillness. When the door opens and the person steps through, the quality shifts at once. The before is over. This is what the far side of the dot feels like, the unformed space before form appears. You cannot store it, replay it, or keep it intact. Even the attempt to notice it disturbs it. But it is the foundation beneath every beginning, the bedrock under the structures you now inhabit. The before is not just a concept for the mind. The body understands it completely. You feel it in the breath you take before answering a question you do not wish to answer. You feel it in the stillness before plunging your feet into cold water. In the moment before opening a letter you have delayed for days, knowing it might contain either relief or heartbreak. These pauses are not nothing. They are saturated with what has not yet happened, like clouds swollen with rain. Sometimes the before feels heavy. Your shoulders pull forward, your chest tightens, your jaw holds itself in place. At other times it feels light but stretched, like the surface tension of water that will break at the slightest touch. Your body knows the difference between what is and what is about to be. Sound holds it too. In music, the stillness before the first note is as important as the note itself. The rest between two phrases is not an absence but part of the rhythm. If you have ever waited for someone to speak and felt the pause grow thick and fragile, you already know how the before can stand in the room like another presence entirely. Even memory contains its own before. Not as a clear picture, but as a sensation that something preceded you, shaped you in ways you cannot name, and then stepped aside so you could exist. Sometimes it arrives as a hunch, sometimes as a faint pull in the chest, sometimes as a trace in your relationships, an inherited hesitation, a way of standing, a way of leaving things unsaid. Because the before shifts as soon as you focus on it, the only way to honour it is to allow it to be itself. You cannot pin it down, but you can recognise it in the patterns of your days. You might find it in the pause before you speak, the breath before you begin a task, the stillness before a reply reaches you. These are smaller mirrors of the before that can never be entered fully, yet they hold the same truth. You do not need to analyse them, only live alongside them. You might let them breathe instead of rushing past. You might notice the moment before turning the page of a book, before switching on a light, before stepping into a new place. These gestures are not attempts to capture the before, but to bow to the fact that it exists. You can feel its presence in the moments you hesitate, in the instant you realise change is coming but has not yet arrived, in the way your body stands differently before you cross a threshold. This is part of your life, whether you notice it or not. You began because something else ended. You live every day on the far side of a moment you can never return to. This is not a problem to solve, but a truth to carry. It might meet you when you feel the weight of a pause you cannot explain, or when you find yourself in a silence that feels far bigger than the room you are in. Not every space is meant to be entered. Some things are complete because they remain untouched. The other side of the dot is permanent. You cannot cross into it, but you can live in relationship with it. In that relationship, you carry both the life you inhabit and the life that came before it began. To be aware of this is to walk with a double awareness of what is visible and of what was once there but has now stepped back. The seasons understand this better than we do. They live by patterns where change hovers before it arrives, the air before snow, the breathless pause before a storm breaks, the shift in light before the first leaf begins to turn. Each one is a reminder that the before is not absence, but a gathering. In the next chapter, we will explore how these rhythms of approach and arrival help us live with both what is here and what is still on its way.